Hare Krishna, Raju Prabhuji, Deepa Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Mataji, if you want, you can start, Mataji. My Prabhuji went to drop Hansini, so he might join
Acha.
later. So అప్పటి వరకు రీడ్ చేద్దాం, స్టార్ట్ చేద్దాము. ఓకే
Okay, let me just check ఎక్కడున్నామో చెక్ చేస్తాను.
అది టెక్స్ట్ 7 మాతాజీ 2:10:7.
అంటే హోస్ట్ చేయక్కర్లేదా? హోస్ట్ ఎవరు చేయగలరు?
ప్రభుజీ
సిస్టమ్ ఆన్
రాజు
ఉంటే.
హరే కృష్ణ రాజు ప్రభుజీ.
అంటే ఇప్పుడు గిరిరాజ్ ప్రభు is the host. So can you, if his system is on, can you make me the host?
అంటే ప్రభుజీ జాయిన్ అవుతారు, అంతవరకు నేను చదువుతాను, అట్లా నేను అనేది.
ఇక్కడ ఆయన హోస్ట్ చేసి ఉన్నారు కదా, ఇప్పుడు ప్రభుజీ ఏమైనా ల్యాప్టాప్ ఇంట్లో పెట్టి వెళ్ళారా ఓపెన్ చేసి స్క్రీన్?
హీస్ డ్రైవింగ్, సో హిల్ జాయిన్.
ఓకే ఓకే, ఫోన్ లోనే లాగిన్ ఉన్నారా? ఓకే.
రాజు ప్రభుజీ అది ఉంది, సుబ్బారావు ప్రభుజీది, హీ మైట్ గివ్ దట్, హీ హ్యావ్ దట్ యాక్సెస్. రాజు ప్రభుజీ హరే కృష్ణ.
హరే కృష్ణ మాతాజీ.
ప్రభుజీ
సుబ్బారావు ప్రభుజీది ఏమన్నా పెట్టగలరా మీరు?
లేకపోతే ఒకసారి గిరిరాజ్ ప్రభుకి కాల్ చేసి మమ్మల్ని హోస్ట్ చేయమని చెప్పండి మాతాజీ ఒకసారి. దట్ ఈస్ సింప్లర్ కదా. ఒకసారి కాల్ చేయండి, నేను ఈలోగా మంగళాచరణ చేస్తా.
అది లేకుండా సుబ్బారావు ప్రభుజీ ఈజీగా చేయొచ్చు మాతాజీ. అది జస్ట్ మనమే అక్కడ we can make సెల్ఫ్ లో మేక్ చేసుకోవచ్చు,
సెల్ఫ్ హోస్ట్ చేసుకోవచ్చు. అంటే మళ్ళీ ఇక్కడ మళ్ళీ ప్రభుజీ వాపస్ వచ్చాక మళ్ళీ అక్కడ లాగిన్ ఇవంతా అందరికి కన్ఫ్యూజన్ అవుతుందేమోనండి.
ఒకసారి అడగండి మాతాజీ, రావణ్ మాతాజీ.
హరే కృష్ణ.
హరే కృష్ణ ప్రభుజీ.
So actually, I'm just dropping Ansari in the school. That's why sorry for the delay.
No problem, Prabhuji. Can you just make host?
Meanwhile, you do Mangalacharana Mataji. Laptop also. Yeah, you do meanwhile Mangalacharana.
Yeah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Kauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा. हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Are you able to see my screen, Hare Krishna?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah. Okay. We'll start with 2.10.7. Lanya Mataji, akkadi nunchi kada? I didn't check.
Yeah, 2.10.7. Yeah, 2.7.
మాతాజీ ఒక్కసారి సుబోధిని పంపించాను, అది రిఫర్ చేస్తే చేయండి మాతాజీ. అంటే జస్ట్ సెక్షన్ వైజ్ వాట్ యు ఆర్ రీడింగ్ మామూలుగా కవర్ చేస్తాను.
ఓకే. Two dot 2.10. Yeah. So we're in 2.10.7. So it is basically the first section only, the 10 characteristics of a Purana. So 1 to 2 is 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. Highest.
షేర్ చేస్తారా మొత్తం ఆ స్క్రీన్ షేర్
Oh, ఇది అవ్వట్లేదా?
ఓకే
ఓకే ఒక్క నిమిషం. ఇప్పుడు
ఎస్ మాతాజీ
10 characteristics of a Purana. 1 to 2 is 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. Highest is the 10th topic, Ashraya. 3 to 7 definitions of the 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. 8 to 9 is Paramatma is the shelter of the soul. So if we are talking about until 7, then it is this. The 10 topics of Bhagavatam, great devotees describe the other 9 topics through scriptures and stories to impart the highest knowledge of the 10th topic, Ashraya. Atra sargo visargascha sthanam poshanam utayah manvantareshanu nirodho muktirashrayah dashamasya vishuddhyartham navanam iha lakshanam varnayanti mahatmana shrutenarthena chanjasha. Definition of 10 topics. 3. Sarga and Visarga, primary creation, and Visarga is secondary creation. Bhutamatrendriya dhiyam janma sarga udaritah brahmano guna vaisamyad visarga paurusha smritah. So the sarga, which is primary creation, is the elementary creation of the 16 items of matter, and visarga is interaction of the modes of material nature, which is creation by Brahma. Sthanam, right situation for living entities. Sthitir Vaikuntha Vijayah, the victory of the Lord of Vaikuntha, geography of the universe. Fourth lo Sthanam, Poshanam, Manvantara, and Uti are discussed. Poshanam is maintenance, Poshanam Tad Anugraha, his causeless mercy. Manvantara, reign of Manus, Manvantarani Sat Dharma, perfect occupational duty. Uti, impetus for activity. Utayah karma vasana, desire for fruitive work. 5 is Ishanu Katha, Avataраनुचरितं हरेश्चास्यानुपर्तिनां पुंसामीश कथा प्रोक्ता नानाख्यानोपब्रह्मिता. Incarnations of the Supreme Lord and his different activities together with the activities of his great devotees. Nirodha, winding up. Nirodhosyanu shayanam atmana saha shaktibhi, the merging of the living entity with mystic lying down of Mahavishnu. Mukti, liberation. Muktirhin hitvan yatha rupam swarupena vyavasthitihi, permanent situation of the living entity's form gives up the changeable bodies. Ashraya, the supreme shelter. Abhasascha nirodhascha yatostyadhyabasiyate sa ashraya param brahma paramatmeti shabdyate, the cause of creation, maintenance and destruction of the universe, who is also known as Paramatma and Param Brahma. So 2.10.8 to 9, Paramatma is the shelter of the soul. That's what we are going to cover today. Yeah. Samhita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhanavad Pranam.
Dandavana Mataji.
Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: the Supreme One, who is celebrated as the Supreme Being or the Supreme Soul, is the supreme source of the cosmic manifestation as well as its reservoir and winding up. Thus, he is the supreme fountainhead, the absolute truth. Purport: synonyms for the supreme source of all energies, as explained in the very beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, are Janmadhyasya Yata Vadanti Tat Tattvavidas Tattvam Yagnanam Advayam Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavan Iti Shapyate, called Parabrahma, Paramatma, or Bhagavan. The word iti used here in these words completes the synonyms and thus indicates Bhagavan. This will be further explained in the later verses, but this Bhagavan ultimately means Lord Krishna, because the Srimad Bhagavatam has already accepted the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Krishna. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam, the original source of all energies. or the Summum Bonum is the absolute truth, which is called Parabrahma, etc. And Bhagavan is the last word of the absolute truth. But even with the synonyms for Bhagavan, such as Narayana, Vishnu, and Purusha, the last word is Krishna, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate, etc. Besides that, the Srimad Bhagavatam is the representation of Lord Krishna as a sound incarnation of the Lord. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Oh,
Mataji, you
shall I
can
read?
continue. Yeah.
Okay, Mataji. Krishne
I am able to do
Svadhamo.
Mataji.
Shall I read, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Krishne Svadhamopagate Dharmagnanadibhishaha Kalau Nastadrisham Esha Purnarako Dunoditaha. Thus, by general conclusion, Lord Krishna is the ultimate source of all energies, and the word Krishna means that. And to explain Krishna or the science of Krishna, the Srimad Bhagavatam has been prepared. In the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, this truth is indicated in the question and answers by Sutta Goswami and great sages like Saunaka. And in the first and second chapters of the canto, this is explained. In the third chapter, this subject is more explicit, and in the fourth chapter, even more explicit. In the second canto, the absolute truth as the personality of Godhead is further emphasized, and the indications is the Supreme Lord Krishna. The summary of Srimad Bhagavatam in 4 verses, as we have already discussed, is Sachinist. The Supreme Personality of Godhead in the ultimate issue is confirmed by Brahma in his Brahma Samhita as Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha. So it is concluded in the third canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. The complete subject matter is elaborately explained in the 10th and 11th cantos of the Srimad Bhagavatam. In the matter of the changes of the Manus or Manvantaras, such as the Swayambhu Manvantara and the Chakshusha Manvantara, as they are discussed in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Krishna is indicated. In the 8th canto, the Vaivasvata Manvantara explains the same subject indirectly, and in the 9th canto, the same purport is there. In the 12th canto, the same is further explained, specifically regarding the different incarnations of the Lord. Thus, it is concluded by studying the complete Srimad Bhagavatam that Lord Sri Krishna is the ultimate summum bonum or the ultimate source of all energy. And according to the grades of worshippers, the indications of the nomenclature may be differently explained as Narayana, Brahma, Paramatma, etc. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Okay, Prabhuji, Giriraj Prabhuji, you can take it.
Yes, Mataji. Actually, yeah, when we join as a host, anybody can share the screen. So that is
Oh, no.
I have changed the settings last time. So anyway,
Okay.
thank you, Mataji,
Thank you,
for
Prabhuji.
running this call. Anyway, so let us continue. So
I'll stop sharing then.
let me share my screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, next. Vani Mataji, Hare Krishna, please read. Hare Krishna, Vani Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Benji.
Yeah.
Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada Vijay. Translation. The individual person possessing different instruments of senses is called the Adhyatmic person, and the individual controlling deity of the senses is called Adidaivic. The embodiment seen on the eyeballs is called the Adibhautik person. Purport. The supreme controlling Sammam Bonam is the personality of Godhead in his plenary portion of Paramatma, or the super soul manifestation. In the Bhagavad Gita 10.42 it is said, Atava bahunaitina kim jnatena tavarjuna vishtabhyaham idam krishnam ekam shena sthito jagat. All the controlling deities like Vishnu, Brahma, and Shiva are different manifestations of the Paramatma feature. of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, who exhibits himself in such manners by entering into each and every universe generated from him. But still, apparently, there are divisions of the controller and control. For example, in the food controlling department, the controller of food is a person made of the same ingredients as a person who is controlled. Similarly, each and every individual in the material world is controlled by the higher demigods. For example, we have our senses, but the senses are controlled by the superior controlling deities. We cannot see without light, and the supreme controller of the light is sun. The sun god is in the sun planet, and we, the individual human beings or any other being on this earth, are all controlled by the sun god as far as our eyes are concerned. Similarly, all the senses we have controlled by the superior demigods, who are also as much living entities as we are, but one is empowered while the other is controlled. The control living entity is called the Adhyatmic person, and the controller is called the Adidaivic person. All these positions, the material world, are due to different fruitive activities. Any individual living being can become the sun god or even Brahma or any other god in the upper plenary system by a higher grade of pious work. And similarly, one becomes controlled by the higher demigods by lower grades of fruitive activities. So every individual living entity is subjected to the supreme controller of the Paramatma, who puts everyone in different position of the controller and the control. That which, shall I continue?
Yeah, you continue.
That which distinguishes the controller and the control, that is the material body, is called the Adi Bhautik Purusha. The body is sometimes called Purusha, is confirmed in the Vedas, the words following him. Save Esha Purushonna Rasa Mayaha. This body is called the Anna Rasa, embodiment. This body depends on food. The living entity which is embodied does not eat anything, however, because the owner is spirit in essence. The material body requires a placement of the matter of the watering and tearing of the mechanical body. Therefore, the distinction between the individual living entity and the controlling planetary deities is in the Anna Rasa Amaya body. The sun may have a genetic body and the man may have a smaller body, but all these visible bodies are made of matter. Nonetheless, the sun god and the individual person who are related as the controller and the control are the same spiritual parts and parcel of the supreme being. And it is the supreme being who places different parts of the parcels in different positions. And thus, the conclusion is that the supreme person is the shelter of all.
Thank you, Mata.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you. It's 10.8, no? 2.10.8 and 9. Paramatma is the shelter of the soul. So that's what described in this verses. Yes. Vani Mata, Hare Krishna. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
Dandavat Pranam Mata, please read.
Yeah. Translation. All three of the above mentioned stages of different living entities are interdependent. In the absence of one, another is not understood. In the absence of one, another is not understood. But the Supreme Being, who sees every one of them as the shelter of the shelter, is independent of all, and therefore he is the supreme shelter. Purport. There are innumerable living entities, one dependent on another in the relationship of the controlled and the controller. But without the medium of perception, no one can know or understand who is the controlled and who is the controller. For example, the sun controls the power of our vision. We can see the sun because the sun has its body, and the sunlight is useful only because we have eyes. Without our having eyes, the sunlight is useless, and without sunlight, the eyes are useless. Thus, they are interdependent, and none of them is independent. Therefore, the natural question arises concerning who made them interdependent. The one who has made such a relationship of interdependence must be ultimately completely independent. As stated in the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the ultimate source of all interdependent objectives is the complete independent subject. The ultimate source of all interdependence is the Supreme Truth or Paramatma, the Super Soul, who is not dependent on anything else. He is the Swarashraya Shreya. He is the only dependent on himself, and thus he is the supreme shelter of everything. All the Paramatma and Brahman are subordinate to Bhagavan. Because Bhagwan is Purushottama or the super person, he is the source of super soul also. The Bhagavad Gita 15.18, Lord Krishna says that he is the Purushottama and the source of everything. And thus it is it's concluded that Sri Krishna is the ultimate source and shelter of all entities, including the super soul and supreme Brahman. Even accepting that there is no difference between the super soul and the individual soul is dependent on the super soul for being liberated from the illusion of material energy. The individual is under the clutches of illusionary energy, and therefore, although quantitatively one with the super soul, he is under the illusion of identifying himself with matter. And to get out of this illusionary conception of actual life, the individual soul has to depend on the super soul to be recognized as one with him. In that sense, also, the super soul is the supreme shelter. There is no doubt about it.
We'll give it to the mother. Thank you, Mataji.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Lavanya, you want to continue?
Yeah, Hare Krishna. The living entity, the individual living entity, the Jiva is always dependent on the super soul, Paramatma. Because the individual soul forgets his spiritual identity, whereas the super soul, Paramatma, does not forget his transcendental position. In the Bhagavad Gita, these separate positions of a Jivatma and Paramatma are specifically mentioned. In the fourth chapter, Arjuna, the Jiva soul, is represented as forgetful of his many previous births, but the Lord, the super soul, is not forgetful. The Lord even remembers when he taught the Bhagavad Gita to the sun god some billions of years before. The Lord can remember such millions and billions of years as stated in the Bhagavad Gita 7.26 as follows. वेदाहं समतीतानि वर्तमानानि चार्जुन भविष्यानि च भूतानि मां तु वेद न कश्चन. The Lord in his eternal blissfully body of knowledge is fully aware of all that happened in the past, that which is going to be at the present, and also what will happen in the future. But in spite of his being the shelter of both the Paramatma and Brahman, persons with poor fund of knowledge are unable to understand him as he is. The propaganda of identity of cosmic consciousness with the consciousness of the individual living entities is completely misleading, because when such a person or individual soul as Arjuna could not remember his past deeds, although he is always with the Lord. And what can the tiny ordinary man, falsely claiming to be one with the cosmic consciousness, know about his past, present, and future?
Very good. So 2.10.8 to 9, these two verses just now we read. Paramatma is the shelter of the soul, super soul. Soul and super soul, we all know this concept. So super soul is the highest thing in our body. Okay, who is the shelter of the Adhyatmika, subtle senses, Adi Daivika, sense deities. I'm reading this one, Subodhini. Adi Daivika, sense deities, and Adi Bhautika, gross sense in the body, which are mutually dependent. Since Krishna says that by this Amsha, he pervades the worlds, BG 10.42, it should be understood that Krishna is the shelter of Paramatma, who is the shelter of the Jiva. Thus, Krishna is the, I'm sharing it, just better, let me share so that you can follow. The note point is, since Krishna says that by his Amsha, he pervades the worlds, PG 10.42, it should be understood that Krishna is the shelter of Paramatma, who is the shelter of the Jiva. Thus, Krishna is the supreme Ashraya, is established. Connected point. After describing the 10 characteristics of a Mahapurana, now Sukadeva begins to explain what he had promised in 2.9.46, beginning with the activities of the Purusha avatars. So that's there. So 10 to 35, Sarga is going to explain. From 10th verse to 35 verse, Sarga concept, creation of the Virat Rupa, answer to Parikshit's question in 2.8.11. So that entire chapter, Parikshit Maharaj's questions, So Srimad Bhagavatam is answering in various chapters. We'll continue. Yes. Prabhuji is done. Raju Prabhu, can you able to read?
Yes, Prabhuji, I read. Translation. After separating the different universes, the gigantic universal form of the Lord Mahavishnu, which came out of the Causal Ocean, the place of appearance of the first Purushavatara, enter into the each separate universe, desiring lie on the created transcendental water, Garbhodaksha. Purport. After analysis of the living entities and the Supreme Lord, Paramatma, the independent source of all the living being, Srila Sukadeva Goswami is now presenting the prime necessity of devotional service to the Lord, which which is the only occupational business of all living entities. The Supreme Lord, Krishna, and all his plenary portions, extents of plenary portions of non-different from one another, and thus the supreme independence is in each and every one of them. In order to prove this, Sukadev Goswami, as promised the King Parishit, describes here in the independence of the Purushavatara, personality of Godhead, even in the sphere of material. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Material creation, such activities of the Lord are also transcendental, and therefore they are also Leela or pastimes of the absolute Lord. Such pastimes of the Lord is very conductive to the hearers of the self-realization in the field of devotional service. Can I continue, Prabhu?
Yeah, please continue.
Some may argue, then why not release the transcendental Leela of the Lord as exhibited in the land of Madura and Vrindavana, which are sweeter than anything in the world? Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakura replaced that pastimes of Lord in Vrindavana are meant to be relished by advanced devotees of the Lord. Neophyte devotees will misunderstand such supreme transcendental activities of the Lord, and therefore the Lord's pastimes in the material sphere related to the creation, maintenance, and destructions are really very relatable by the Prakrita or mundane devotees of the Lord. As the yoga system mainly based on the bodily exercise is meant for person who is too much attached to the bodily conception of the existence. Similarly, the Lord pastimes are related to the creation of the destruction of the material world, or for those who are too materially attached. For such mundane creatures, the function of the body and the functions of the cosmic world through the physical laws of relationship in the Lord are also therefore included in the understanding of the lawmaker, the supreme personality of Godhead. The scientists explain the material functions by so many technological terms of the material law, but such blind scientists forget the lawmaker. The Srimad Bhagavatam points out the lawmaker. One should not amazed by the mechanical arrangement of the complicated engine or dynamo, but one should praise the engineer who creates such wonderful working machine. That is the difference between the devotee and the non-devotee. Devotees are always full with praising the Lord who directs such physical laws. In the Bhagavad Gita 9.10, the direction of the Lord upon the material nature described as follows. Can I stop, Prabhuji? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Sapan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Maya dakshena prakritihi suyate sacharacharam hetunanena kaunteya jagad vipari vartate. The material nature, full of physical laws, is one of my different energies. Therefore, it is neither independent nor blind. Because I am transcendently all-powerful, simply by my glancing over material nature, the physical laws of nature work so wonderfully. The actions and reactions of the physical laws work on that account, and thus the material world is created, maintained, and annihilated again and again. Men with a poor fund of knowledge, however, become astonished by studying the physical laws, both within the construction of individual body and within the cosmic manifestation. And foolishly, they decry the existence of God, taking it for granted that the physical laws are independent. Without any metaphysical control, the Bhagavad Gita replies to this foolishness in the following words. Avajananti mamoda manushim tanum ashritam param bhavam ajananto mam bhutamaheshwaram mama bhutamaheshwaram. The
Continue,
foolish
Prabhu.
men. Continue, Prabhu.
Yes, please.
The
Continue.
foolish men, Modaha, do not know the personality of Godhead in his eternal form of bliss and knowledge. The foolish man thinks of the transcendental body of the Lord as something like his own, and therefore he cannot think of the unlimited controlling power of the Lord, who is not visible in the acting of the physical laws. The Lord is, however, visible to the naked eyes of the people in general when he descends himself by his own personal potency. Lord Krishna incarnated himself as he is and played very wonderful parts of the Lord himself. And Bhagavad Gita concerns such wonderful actions and knowledge. Yet foolish men will not accept Lord Krishna as the Supreme Lord. Generally, they consider the infinitesimal and infinite features of the Lord because they themselves are unable to become either the infinitesimal or the infinite. But one should know that the infinite and infinitesimal sizes of the Lord are not his highest glories. The wonderful manifestations of the Lord's power is exhibited when the infinite Lord becomes visible to our eyes as one of us. Yet his activities are different from those of finite things. Lifting a mountain at the age of 7 years and marrying 16,000 wives in the prime of his youth are some of the examples of his infinite energy. But the Mudas, after seeing them or hearing about them, decry them as legendary and take the Lord as one of them. They cannot understand that Lord Krishna, Sri Krishna, although in the form of a human being by his own potency, is still the Supreme Lord with full potency as the Supreme Controller. Hare Krishna.
Last paragraph, the complete end.
Yes, Prabhuji. When, however, the Mudas give submissive and oral reception to the messages of the Lord, as in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita or in the Srimad Bhagavatam, through the channel of disciplic succession, such Mudas also become devotees of the Lord by the grace of his pure devotees. And for this reason only, either in the Bhagavad Gita or in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the pastimes of the Lord in the material world are delineated for the benefit of those men with a poor fund of knowledge. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. So, one-liner statement in this book, Supadini is Mahavishnu entered in each of the universe after separating them as Garbhodaka Shai Vishnu and created the Garbhodaka waters. Text 11. So let me see who is there. Edmond Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Translation. That supreme person is not impersonal and therefore is distinctively a Nara or person. Therefore, the transcendental water created from the supreme Nara is known as Nara. And because he lies down on that water, he is known as Narayana. Yeah. Translation. One should definitely know that all material ingredients, activities, time, and modes, and the living entities who are meant to enjoy them all exist by his mercy only. And as soon as he does not care for them, everything becomes non existent. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta from Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The living entities are the enjoyers of the material ingredients, time, modes, etc. because they want to lord it over the material nature. The Lord is supreme enjoyer, and the living entities are meant to assist the Lord in his enjoyment and thus participate in the transcendental enjoyment of everyone. The enjoyer and the enjoyed both participate in the enjoyment, but deluded by the illusory energy. The living entities want to become the enjoyer like the Lord, although they are not meant for such enjoyment. The jivas are living entities. Sorry, the living entities are mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita as Lord's superior nature or Paraprakriti. And so also it is mentioned in the Vishnu Purana. Therefore, the living entities are never the Purushas or factual enjoyers. As such, the spirit of enjoyment by the living entities, the material world, is false. In the spiritual world, the living entities are pure in nature and therefore they are associates in the enjoyment of the Supreme Lord. In the material world, the spirit of enjoyment of living entity by dint of their own actions, karma, gradually fades by the lords of nature. And thus, the illusory energy dictates in the ears of conditioned souls that they should become one with the Lord. This is the last snare of illusory energy. When the last illusion is also cleared off by the mercy of the Lord, the living entity again becomes reinstated in his original position and thus becomes actually liberated. For this attainment of liberation from the material clutches, the Lord creates the material world, maintains it for some time, 1000 years of his measurement, as stated in the previous verse, and then again annihilates it by his will. The living entities are therefore completely dependent on the mercy of the Lord, and all their so-called enjoyments by scientific improvement are crushed into dust when the Lord desires. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Srila Prabhupada రాసిండు బ్రహ్మాండంగా.
Crushed. They are crushed into dust.
Right. Yes, Prabhuji. ఒక స్టేట్మెంట్ ఇలా ఉంది ప్రభు. ది లార్డ్ ఈజ్ ద సుప్రీం ఎంజాయర్. ఇది మళ్ళొక్కసారి చదవండి.
Yeah. The Lord is the supreme enjoyer, and the living entities are meant to assist the Lord in his enjoyment and participate in the transcendental enjoyment of everyone. The enjoyer and the enjoyed both participate in enjoyment, but deluded by illusory energy, the living entity wants to become the enjoyer like the Lord, although they are not meant for such enjoyment. Haribol.
Yes, Prabhu. Everything is everything is material world also created for his enjoyment. I mean, of course.
Have you ever read this statement in front of a liberal, Prabhu? Any left liberals?
Liberal?
Have you ever faced a left liberal and have you ever read these statements, Prabhu?
No.
They will drag you into illusion, Prabhu.
Yeah. So Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. Srila Prabhupada words, supreme enjoyer. Everything, material world creation and spiritual world creation is meant for his enjoyment. For Prabhu, ఇది చెప్పండి statement. Material world also for his enjoyment. Is right statement or wrong statement? Material world also for his enjoyment. For his lila. It has to happen in the material world. Killing various demons or conditioned souls suffering.
Means a facility, na Prabhuji. Main it is a facility. Then also for his lila.
For lila,
means
for his enjoyment.
Yeah. That is there. That is a part statement, na. But that will become whole when it is also included that the individual's free will has been accommodated through this.
Yes, Prabhu. So everything is meant for his enjoyment only. That's a statement. Overall, whether it is material world or spiritual world, for his enjoyment.
Material world, Prabhu, he doesn't like, Prabhu.
Yeah, he doesn't like. Correct.
He doesn't like. But still, he is forced to do that because the will of the individual soul is there. To accommodate that, he is creating. And how he is giving the hope by himself coming again into that material worlds.
Yeah. Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. So again, we'll continue. Deepa Mata, please read.
Yes, Prabhuji.
13 verse.
Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Lord, while lying on his bed of mystic slumber, generated the seminal symbol, golden in hue, through external energy out of his desire to manifest varieties of living entities from himself alone. Purport. In the Bhagavad Gita 9.7 to 8, the creation and annihilation of the material world are stated as follows. Sarvabhutani kaunteya prakritim yanti mamikam kalpakshaya punastani kalpadau visrajamyaham prakritim swam avashtabhya visrajami punah punah bhutagramam imam kritsnam avasham prakritirvasat. At the end of each millennium, the creative forces, namely the material nature and the living entities who struggle in the material nature, all merge together into the transcendental body of the Lord. And again, when the Lord desires to manifest them, all of them are again displayed by the Lord. Therefore, the material nature is working under the control of the Lord, all of them under the agency of material nature and under the control of the Lord, are thus repeatedly created and annihilated by the will of the Lord. As such, before the creation or manifestation of the material cosmic world, the Lord exists as total energy, Mahasamashti, and thus, desiring himself to be diffused to many, he expands himself further into multi-total energy, Samashti. From the multi-total energy, he further expands himself into individuals in 3 dimensions, namely Adhyatmic, Adhidaivic, and Adhibhautik. As explained before, Vyashti. As such, the whole creation and the creative energies are non-different and different simultaneously, because everything is an emanation from him, the Mahavishnu or Mahasamashti. Nothing of the cosmic energies is different from him. But all such expanded energies have specific functions and display as designed by the Lord, and therefore they are simultaneously different from the Lord. The living entities are also similar energy, marginal potency of the Lord, and thus they are simultaneously one with and different from him. At the stage of non-manifestation, the living energies remain potent in the Lord, and when they are let loose in the cosmic manifestation, they are exhibited differently in terms of different desires under the modes of nature. Such differential manifestations of the living energies are conditional states of the living entities. The liberated living entities, however, in the Sanatana eternal manifestation, are unconditionally surrendered souls, and therefore they are not subject to the conditions of creation and annihilation. So this creation takes place by the glance of the Lord from his bedstead of mystic slumber. And thus all the universes and the Lord of the universe, Brahma, are again and again manifested and annihilated. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mata, thank you. Yeah, Samyukta Mata.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Translation. Just to hear from me how the potency of his lordship divides one into 3, called the controlling entities and the controlled entities and the material bodies in the manner mentioned above.
One second, Mata. What
Yes.
is it? Into 3. Controlling entities, controlled entities, and the material bodies. Okay. You read right. This one also.
Okay. From the sky situated within the transcendental body of the manifesting Mahavishnu, sense energy, mental force, and bodily strength are all generated, as well as the sum total of the fountainhead of the total living force.
Yeah, thank you, Mata. You'll ask Sandhya Mata.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Sandhya Mata.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. As the followers of a king follow their lord, similarly, when the total energy is in motion, all other living entities move, and when the total energy stops endeavoring, all other living entities stop sensual activities. Purport. The individual living entities are completely dependent on the total energy of the Supreme Purusha. No one has independent existence, just as no electric lamp has independent effulgence. Each and every electrical instrument depends fully on the total powerhouse. The total powerhouse depends on the reservoir of water for generating electricity. Water depends on the clouds, and the clouds depend on the sun, and the sun depends on creation, and the creation depends on the movement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the cause of all causes.
Okay, thank you. So with this purport, what we are understanding, we never ever become independent at any point of time. We are always dependent on Krishna's energy. Very good. Vani Mataji? Okay. Hare Krishna, Vani Mataji.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Yeah. Translation. The living force being agitated by the Virat Purusha generated hunger and thirst, and when he desired to drink and eat, the mouth opened. Purport. The process by which all living beings in the womb of the mother develop their sense organs and sense perceptions appears to follow the same principles in the case of Virata Purusha, the sum total of all living entities. Therefore, the supreme cause of all generation is not impersonal or without desire. The desires of all living the desires for all kinds of sense perception and sense organs exist in the supreme, and thus they take place in the individual persons. The desire is the nature of the supreme living being, the absolute truth. Because he is the sum total of all mouths, the individual living entities have mouths. Similarly, with all other senses and sense organs, here, the mouth is a symbolic representation of all sense organs, but the same principles apply to the others also.
We'll end with this verse. Lavanya, please continue.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Text 18. From the mouth, the palate became manifested, and thereupon the tongue was also generated. After this, all the different tastes came into existence, so that tongue can relish them. Purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Purport. This gradual process of evolution suggests the explanation of the controlling deities, that is Adidaiva, because Varuna is the controlling deity for all relishable juices. Therefore, the mouth becomes the resting place for the tongue, which tastes all the different juices, of which the controlling deity is Varuna. This suggests, therefore, that Varuna was also generated along with the development of the tongue and the palate being instrumental or adibhutam, or forms of matter. But the functioning deity who is living entity is Adidaiva, whereas the person undergoing the function is Adhyatma. Thus, the three categories are also explained as to their birth after the opening of the mouth of Virat Purusha. The four principles mentioned in this verse serve to explain the three main principles, namely Adhyatma, Adidaiva, and Adibhutam, as explained before. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Let us quickly see these four verses in Subodhini, and we can go to sloka practice. Yeah. Let me read quickly. So, 18 verses, 18th verse. 18th verse, okay. Let me read quickly. This 10th one, Mahavishnu entered into each of the universes after separating them as Garbhodakashaya Vishnu and created the Garbhodaka waters. 11th verse talks about he is called Narayana because it dwelled for many years on those waters, which are known as Nara, because they were created from himself, Nara. 12th one, Dravya, Karma, Kala, Swabhava, and the Jivas can produce effects only by connection with the Lord. Without his presence, they have no effect. Dravya, Karma, Kala, Swabhava, and Jivas. Without the connection, they won't produce and they have no effect. 13th one, the Lord desiring to manifest varieties of living entities generated the seminal symbol Viriam, golden in hue, Hiranmayam, through his external energy. 14th one, his potency divides 1 into 3, called Adi Daivam, the controlling entities, Adhyatmam, the controlled entities, and Adi Bhutam, the material bodies. This will be elaborated in 2.10.17 to 30. So that's discussing now. So 15th one, from From the ether within the body of the universal form arose Ojas, Sahas, and Balam. From that arose the best life air called Sutra. Sutra is a portion of Mahat Tattva with a predominance of Rajas. 2.5.24. Reference 2.5.24. The senses become active following after the action of the Sutra and become inactive when the Sutra becomes inactive, just as servants following a king. Yeah. So that's why we are reading right now, Virat Rupas 17 to 30, creation procedure. So we are at 18th verse. So Virat Rupas desires to eat. So we'll continue tomorrow with this table and along with our Srila Prabhupada translations and purport. Nandana Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So last week I was not there. Again, thank you so much Raju Prabhu and Deepa Mataji for conducting. So we are practicing the Bhishma prayers, Mataji. Is the same one, the Bhishma prayers,
yeah, second verse అయిపోయింది అనుకుంటా.
Okay. I am sharing just
34 అనుకుంటా. 1.9.34 స్టార్ట్ చేయాలనుకుంటా. Let's Mohan Prabhu, is that right?
Yes, Mother.
Yes,
34.
ma'am.
34 share చేస్తే Prabhuji will speak about the meaning and everything, and then we'll practice the verse.
Okay, Mata, 1 second. Yes, ma'am. Two verses practice, right? Work?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. You are able to see, right? Screen share.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Lalit Mohan Prabhu. Third one. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Done. So, we have done 2 shlokas. First 2 shlokas we have done. Like by now we have got 2 types of tunes. Okay. First one is Geeti Mati Rupakal Pita Vitrishna Bhagavati Satvata Pungave Vibhumi. So this is one kind of tune. The other one is Tribhuvana Kamanam Tamalavaranam Ravikara Gauravarambaram Dadhami. So this is how you should distinguish between these 2 tunes. Now the third one will be again continuation of the first tune. What is that? Yuditura Garajo Vidhumra Vishwa Kvachalulita Shramavaryana Kritasye. So you should remember this in this own tune, this thing. Okay, like you do in the first one. Itimati Rupakal Yuditura Garajo, like that. Okay. Okay. Now this is the meditation of Bhishma Dev while he was on his deathbed. By seeing Krishna, what he was remembering? He was remembering the moment when he has seen on the battlefield what he has seen. He was remembering while it is his deathbed. Okay. So why Krishna was standing on the opposite side of Bhishma? Why Krishna kept Bhishma on the opposite side to fulfill his desire to see his Lord in a Virya Ras. Okay? If he would have been on the Pandava side, Bhishma wouldn't have witnessed Krishna while he was fighting. He would see his back, but not at the front. Okay, that's the reason why Bhishma was kept on the opposite side. So Bhishma is with this shloka, we will we can come to know why Bhishma was very happy when he was fighting with Krishna. In a Virya Ras, that's how we share our skills and we'll be happy. Okay, that is the ras which they have. These two devotees have. So what this guy is sharing now, this Bhishma Dev, what he is sharing now is Yudhi Turaga. Yudhi means in the battlefield. Turaga means horses. In the battlefield, the horses, what are they doing? Rajo. Okay. Rajo means Raj. Raj means the dust particles. Okay. Braj ka Raj bolte hain. So it is the dust particles of raised by the horses. Which horses? In the battlefield. Okay. Vidhumra Vishwak. Vidhumra Vishwak means by the dust now what happened is his hair, which was, what is it? Gingralu. What do you say, Gingralu? Which are turned into
hair.
huh?
Curly hair.
Curly. Yeah. On that curly hair of his, what happened? It has turned into ashes. And what is that ash? That ash was actually raised by the Yudhi Turaga, horses of the battlefield. Okay. So the first line is completely when the dust of the horses from the battlefield has risen, what happened? They formed and settled on the curly hair of Krishna. That's what he was remembering. Okay. And Kvachalulita Shramavaaryalan Kritasye. Kachalulita means that scattered hair again. Okay. Scattered hair. Shramavari Alankrita. And that scattered hair is again, what we say, decorated by what? His own perspiration. Means because he is doing battle, what happens? A lot of sweat and all this comes, no? So that perspiration drops has been appearing on his face along with what? That scattered air. And how is that scattered air? Yudhi Turaga Rajos Kachalulita. Ashen, turned ashen. Okay. So what are these first two lines? Can anyone say? Yudhi Turaga Rajo Vidhumra Vishwak Kachalulita Ashramavaaryalan Tritasi.
First, his curly hair is like anointed with dust, which is by horses' hoof prints, Prabhu, in battlefield.
That is the
And
first line.
because he is doing war with
Shrama.
everything, especially face.
Okay.
మొత్తం నిండిపోయింది face.
Yeah. And then what he's telling? Mama Nishita Sharayar. Okay. Mama Nishita means my sharp arrows. Nishita Sharayar means sharp arrows. My sharp arrows. And then what is he being decorated by? My sharp arrows. Okay. What did my arrows do? Vibhadyamana. Sorry, Sharayar. Sharay means Nishita Sharay means sharp arrows. Sharay Vibhadyamana. What did it do? It pierced his body. Vibhadyamana means it has pierced the skin of Lord. Okay. And Vilasat. By doing so, what is happening to Krishna? He is enjoying. Okay. When actually Bhishma Dev has shoot arrows onto Krishna, it really pierced the armor of Krishna and it has pierced his skin. And what is Krishna doing by that? He is enjoying, because that's how his devotee is enjoying his Leela with. Okay. That is what Krishna thinks. He's really enjoying. And only Bhishma could see this. Not everyone can see. For the other people, how they are? अरे वो सीधा कृष्णा को ही मतलब मार रहा है. But how is Bhishma seeing? Bhishma is seeing that my Lord is enjoying by this. Let me do it more. A very different Leela. This is a very different because they are in a Virya ras. That's how this rasa is. And Mama Nishita Sharair Vibidyamana. Vachi Vilasat Kavachistu Krishna Atma. Tvachi Vilasat. Tvachi means in the skin. Okay. Vilasat means he's enjoying actually. Kavache, protecting armor. These arrows are piercing his protecting armor. Okay. And Astu. This is the main thing. Let my mind be there. Astu. Krishna Atma. Let my mind and Atma be onto the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. Okay. At last word is his prayer actually. But all the first three are his remembrance of Lord Krishna in the battlefield. So he was not still forgetting what he was attracted to. So what he was attracted to? That Virya of Krishna. And how he was appearing in the battlefield. First line is Yudhi Turaga Rajo Vidhumra Vishwak. Yudhi Turaga. Horses of battlefield. Vidhumra Vishwak. They have raised the ashen and it got settled on the hair of Krishna. Okay? Kachalulita Shamavari Alankritas. That same hair, curly hair, was again decorated by what? The perspiration, the sweat of Lord Krishna's Shrama. Okay? Mamat Nishita Sharair. And along with that body, along with that face, what he could see? The body. And how was the body?
Wounded.
The body was pierced by the sharp arrows of himself. Who? Bhishma. And how it got pierced? Pierced through the armor of Krishna. Okay? And what is he doing? Vilasa. He is enjoying that. Towards that face and body, let my mind be. This is what Bhishma's prayer in this is. Okay? Understood, na? What he is concentrating on? The thing which, the rasa which he likes more. Battlefield. Rasa on the battlefield. Okay?
Yes.
So, shall we go with the shloka now? Haribol?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu.
Mataji, do it like this, huh? The first one, as you know, but still.
Yeah, yeah. Yes,
And the second line also same. Huh? Please go ahead, Mataji.
yes, Prabhuji. युधितुरगरजो विधूम्रविश्वक. Hare Krishna, please. युधितुरगरजो विधूम्रविश्वक. युधितुरगरजो विधूम्रविश्वक. कचलुलिता श्रमवार्यलङ्कृतास्ये. कचलुलिता श्रमवार्यलङ्कृतास्ये. कचलुलिता श्रमवार्यलङ्कृतास्ये. मम निशितशरैः
Mataji, ఒకసారి ప్రీవియస్ లైన్ ఇంకొకసారి చెప్పరా మాతాజీ? క్వచలులితం సమా వా దగ్గర గట్టిగా ఐ మీన్ యువర్ వాయిస్ prolonged and then రే అలంకృత క్షయ is one single word when you are trying to sing. అంతేగా?
ఫస్ట్ వర్డ్స్ ని క్లియర్ పెట్టుకోండి. కచ లులిత శ్రమ వార్యలన్. ఆ వారి ఎప్పుడైతే వై ఉంటుందో ఇట్ మిక్సెస్ ఇంటూ ద నెక్స్ట్ వర్డ్ అన్నమాట. వార్యలన్ అలా అయిపోతుంది.
ఓకే ఓకే
కచలులిత శ్రమ వార్యలంకృతాస్యే. అలన్ని సెపరేట్
కచల్
తాస్యనే సెపరేట్ చేయాలి.
ఓకే కచలులిత్ శ్రమ శ్రమ
అక్కడ ఎక్స్టెండ్ చేయొద్దు. కచలులిత కచలులిత శ్రమ వార్యలంకృతాస్యే. శ్రమ వా దగ్గర ఎక్స్టెండ్ చేయండి. కచలులిత శ్రమ కంటిన్యూ చేసేయండి. వార్యలం దాని తర్వాత కృతాస్యే అలా బ్రేక్ చేయండి.
కచలులిత్ శ్రమ వార్యలంకృతాక్షే. ఓకే
మమ నిశిత శరైర్ విభిద్యమాన.
మమ
మమ
నిశితశరే విద్యమాన
మమ నిశిత శరైర్ విభిద్యమాన.
మమ నిశిత శరే
మమ నిశిత శరైర్ విభిద్యమాన.
మమ నిశితశరే విద్యమాన
త్వచి విలసత్కవచేస్తు కృష్ణాత్మా.
త్వచి విలసత్కవచేస్తు కృష్ణాత్మా
త్వచి విలసత్కవచేస్తు కృష్ణ ఆత్మా.
త్వచి విలసత్కవచేస్తు కృష్ణాత్మా
త్వచి విలసత్కవచేస్తు కృష్ణ ఆత్మా.
త్వచి విలసత్కవచేస్తు కృష్ణాత్మా.
యాక్చువల్లీ ఇది ఒక సాంగ్ లాగా ఉంటుంది, కానీ అందరినీ కన్ఫ్యూజ్ చేయకూడదని నేను దానికి దీర్ఘాలు ఇవ్వట్లేదు అనమాట. బట్ యాక్చువల్లీ ఇట్ విల్ బి లైక్ యుధితుర కరజో విధుమ్ర విశ్వ కచలులిత శ్రమ వార్యలం కృతాస్యే. మమ నిశిత శరైర్ విభిద్యమాన త్వచి విలసత్కవచేస్తు కృష్ణ ఆత్మా. అలా ఉంటుంది, బట్ ఇట్స్ ఓకే. వీ డోంట్ నీడ్ టు డూ ద దీర్ఘాలు. Whoever can do, but whoever can't do, nothing to worry. Just sing the word by word also, it's fine. Let's do 2 lines together. युधितुरगरजो विधूम्र विश्व कचलुलित श्रमवार्यलङ्कृतास्ये.
युधितरकरजो विधुम्रविश्व
मम निशित शरैर् विभिद्यमान त्वचि विलसत्कवचेस्तु कृष्ण आत्मा.
मम आत्मा.
युधितुरगरजो विधूम्र विश्व कचलुलित श्रमवार्यलङ्कृतास्ये.
युधितुरगरजो विधुम्रविश्व कचलुलित श्रमवार्यलङ्कृतास्ये.
मम
निशित शरे विभिद्यमान
त्वचि विलसत्कवचेस्तु कृष्ण आत्मा.
मम निशित शरे विभिद्यमान
वचिविलसत्कवचेस्तु कृष्ण आत्मा. Now all four together. युधितुरगरजो विधूम्रविश्वक् कुचल युधितुरगरजो विधूम्रविश्वक् कचलुलितश्रमवार्यलङ्कृतास्ये मम निशितशरै विभिद्यमान त्वचि विलसत्कवचेस्तु कृष्ण आत्मा. Now yeah. Akinchan Prabhu, do you want to do?
Yeah, I'll do. Yes, I'll try, Mataji. I just joined, but yeah, I'll try.
If you want, you can listen to a couple of people doing it and then you can do, no problem. I just
I'll try. I'll try it. युधितुरगरजो विदुर्भविश्वा विश्वा कवलुलितश्रमवरे अलङ्कृतास्ये
कचलुलित श्रमवार्यलङ्कृतास्ये.
Yeah. कचलुलितश्रमवाकलङ्कृतास्रे.
Yes.
मम निश्चितनशरेर्विधीयमान त्वचि विलासत्कवचेस्तु कृष्णात्मा.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Giraj Prabhuji, astara.
Yes. Sorry. युधितुरगरजो विधूम्रविश्वक् कचलुलिताश्रमवार्यलङ्कृतास्ये
Yes.
मम निशितशरैर्विधीयमाना त्वचि विलसत्कवचेस्तु कृष्ण आत्मा.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Wonderful. Sapan Prabhu? Nara?
Hare Krishna Mataji, yes. Right. युधितुरगरजो विधूम्रविश्वक् कचलुलिताश्रमवारलङ्कृतास्ये मम निशितशरैर्विभिद्यमाना त्वचि विलसत्कवचेस्तु कृष्ण आत्मा. Hare Krishna.
Perfect, Prabhuji. Very well done. Raju Prabhu? Hare Krishna. Yes, Tara? Lalit Mohan Prabhu?
Mataji, I didn't practice Mataji.
Okay, Prabhuji. Do you want to do or like?
Actually, I'm having breakfast, Mataji.
Okay.
Just I'm listening.
Yeah, no problem. Lalit Mohan Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji. युधितुरगरजो विधूम्रविश्वक् कचलुलिताश्रमवार्यलङ्कृतास्ये मम निशितशरैर्विभिद्यमान त्वचि विलसत्कवचेस्तु कृष्ण आत्मा. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Ram Reddy Prabhu unnara?
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. युधितुरगरजो विधूम्रविश्वक् कचलुलिताश्रमवार्यलङ्कृतास्ये मम निशितशरैर्विभिद्यमाना వచి విలసత్ కవచేస్తు కృష్ణ ఆత్మా. థ్యాంక్ యూ మాతాజీ. హరే కృష్ణ.
థ్యాంక్ యూ ప్రభుజీ, వండర్ఫుల్.
మాతాజీ నేను చేస్తాను నెక్స్ట్.
చేయండి. మీ పేరే
యుధి
చెప్పండి.
ఓకే. युधितुरगरजो विधूम्रविश्वाक् क्वचलुलिताश्रमवार्यलङ्कृताशे मम निशितशरे विभिद्यमाना त्वचि विलसत्कवचे स्तु कृष्ण आत्मा. Mataji,
Mataji,
నాకు tune
pat your back from my side. Okay. చూడండి, this is Sanskrit. This is a complicated shloka and you did it. Wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you,
for
Mataji.
all your hard work, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Yeah. Ravanya Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji. Yudituragarajo vidumravishwa kachalulitashamavaryalam kritasye mama nishitasharai vibidyamana tvachi vilasatkavachestu krishnatma. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Wonderful. Sandhya Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, hearing mode on betting.
Hearing mode. Oh, sorry. Samyukta Mataji.
ఒకసారి నాకు వాయిస్ ప్రింట్ పంపిస్తారా మాతాజీ? ఫర్ సమ్ రీజన్ ఐ డోంట్ నో, ప్రతి శ్లోక ఇస్ మిస్సింగ్. ఐ
No
ప్రాక్టీస్
problem,
ఇట్.
Mataji. నేను పంపిస్తాను. గ్రూప్ లో పంపించేస్తాను.
yes మాతాజీ,
కొంతమంది అడిగారు.
ఐ ప్రాక్టీస్.
Yes, Samyukta Mataji. Hare Krishna.
హరే కృష్ణ మాతాజీ. మాతాజీ సెకండ్ టెక్స్ట్ కూడా ఒకసారి పంపించారా వాయిస్ ప్రింట్? నేను అబ్సెంట్
ఇప్పుడు దాకా 3 జరిగినవి పంపించేస్తాను గ్రూప్ లో.
ఓకే
సెకండ్ పంపించండి. సెకండ్ కూడా నేను కూడా కావాలి. సెకండ్ నేను కూడా లేదు.
అదే మాతాజీ, దీపా మాతాజీ.
ఎస్ ప్రభుజీ.
సెకండ్ది ఒకసారి అంటే మొన్న మీరు చేయించింది కొంచెం నాకు వేరేగా అనిపించింది. అఫ్ కోర్స్ ద ట్యూన్ ఇస్ నాట్ ఇంపార్టెంట్ మాతాజీ, బట్ స్టిల్ మీరు పంపించండి మాతాజీ. ఒకవేళ ఏదైనా తేడా ఉంటే నేను
లే, మీది నాది ఒకటే ప్రభుజీ. త్రిభువనకమనం తమాలవర్ణం రవికర గౌరవరాంబరం.
అంటే ఇది అఫ్ కోర్స్ మనం ట్యూన్ చేసినప్పుడు మొత్తం ఎక్స్టెండ్ చేద్దాం మాతాజీ. మామూలుగా వాళ్ళు నేర్చుకోకపోయినా అది అనవసరం. బట్ ఇట్లా వస్తుంది కదా, త్రిభువన కమనం తమాలవరణం.
మీ తమాలవర్ణం ఇస్ డిఫరెంట్ ఫ్రమ్ మై తమాలవర్ణం.
అదే అంటే నెక్స్ట్ తర్వాత వచ్చే ఇందులో కూర్చోదు మాతాజీ మీరు చేసే వాటిలో. ఎందుకంటే ఫస్ట్ లైన్ కూడా ఎక్స్టెండ్ అవుతుంది అందులో వాటిల్లో. అందుకని అదే
అట్లనే చేశారు.
అవునా? సరే ఓకే
తెలియదు, చూద్దాం ప్రభుజీ మరి.
సరే చేయండి, మీరు చేసి పంపించండి.
ఓకే.
ఏమైనా తేడా ఉంటుందని చెప్తాను, లేకపోతే లేదు ప్లీజ్.
అపూర్వ అది వాళ్ళు కూడా ప్రభుజీ చేసిన ట్యూన్ లోనే వేశారు మాతాజీ. అపూర్వ ఎవరు? ఇంకోరు
అపూర్వ.
వాళ్ళ ట్యూన్ కూడా ఈ మా ప్రభుజీ లలిత్ మోహన్ ప్రభుజీ లాగే ఉంది మాతాజీ. యూ కెన్
అవునా?
చెక్.
అయితే ప్రభుజీ నేర్పించండి, నేను నేర్చుకుంటాను. చెప్పండి.
లలిత్ మోహన్ ప్రభుజీ
ఇట్స్ ఓకే మాతాజీ. సి అవర్ మెయిన్ కాన్సన్ట్రేషన్ ఇస్ నాట్ ఆన్ ద ట్యూన్, బట్ స్టిల్ వాట్ ఇస్ ఒక ట్యూన్ లో వెళ్తున్నాం కదా మనం, అట్లా ముందుకెళ్తే మంచిదని అనుకుంటున్నాను.
సరే, మీ ట్యూన్ లో చేస్తాను. అదర్ దెన్ దట్ ఇస్ దేర్ ఎనీ అదర్ చేంజ్?
నో నథింగ్. దేర్ ద బ్రేక్స్ ఆర్ దేర్ నా. బ్రేక్స్ లేకుండా అట్లా కంటిన్యూస్ ట్యూన్ ఉంది కదా, ఫస్ట్ ది మనం ఎట్లా చేసాం అట్లయితే కంటిన్యూ చేద్దాం.
ఓకే. ఎస్, సంయుక్త మాతాజీ.
ఎస్ మాతాజీ. యుధితురగరజో విధుమ్రవిశ్వ కచలులితాశ్రమవార్యలాంకృతాస్యే మమ నిశితశరై విభిద్యమానా వచి విలసత్కవచేస్తు కృష్ణాత్మా. థ్యాంక్ యూ మాతాజీ.
ఇంకెవరైనా మిగిలిపోయారా చేయవలసిన వాళ్ళు? ఎవరు లేనట్టుంది. ప్రభుజీ, ఇది ఒకసారి వినండి, నేను చేస్తాను. అది కరెక్టా ఒకసారి చెప్పండి. దెన్ ఐ విల్ సెండ్.
Yes, Mataji. Okay, Mataji.
त्रिभुवनकमनं तमालवर्णं रविकरगौरवराम्बरं दधाने वपुरलककुला वृताननाब्जं विजयसखेरतिरस्तु मे నవాద్యా. అట్లానా?
ఫస్ట్ ది కొంచెం ఇది వస్తుంది మాతాజీ. ఇంకా
మళ్ళీ చెప్పండి.
త్రిభువన కమనం తమాల మీరు బ్రేక్ చేస్తున్నారు కదా కమనం దగ్గర. బ్రేక్ చేయకుండా కొంచెం సాగదించాలి.
ఓకే.
త్రిభువన కమనం తమాలవరణం.
మొత్తం పాడండి ఒకసారి.
ఓకే మాతాజీ, సారీ.
సారీ ప్రభుజీ, నేను సారీ.
దిస్ ఇస్ నాట్ దట్ ఇంపార్టెంట్, బట్ దెన్ ఏంటంటే ఒక ఫ్లో లో వెళ్తున్నాం కదా, అదే ఫ్లో కంటిన్యూ చేద్దాం అని చెప్తున్నాను.
when we started means it is important only ప్రభుజీ.
యా. త్రిభువన కమనం తమాలవరణం రవికర గౌరవరాంబరం దధానే వపురలకకులా వృతాననాబ్జం విజయ సఖేరతిరస్తు మే నవాద్య.
ఓకే ప్రభుజీ.
ఏమో తేడా అనిపించిందా మాతాజీ మీకు? నాకు
అనిపించింది ప్రభుజీ. నేను పట్టుకున్నాను ఏం తేడానో నేను చేస్తాను.
ప్రభు అండ్ ఎవరి ట్యూన్ అది?
ఇది యాక్చువల్లీ రమేష్ బాబా ట్యూన్, బ్రజ్వాసిస్ ట్యూన్ ప్రభు. ఇది మన ఎవరు అమరేంద్ర ప్రభు ప్లస్ రమేష్ భాయ్ ఓజా, ఇంకా మిగతా వాళ్ళు ఉంటారు కదా, మన ఇందిరేష్ ఉపాధ్యాయ ఉంటారు కదా ఈ బ్రజ్వాసిస్, వాళ్ళందరూ జనరల్లీ ఇట్లానే పాడతారు.
సేవిని మాతాజీ కూడా ఇదే ట్యూన్ లో పాడుతుంది ప్రభుజీ.
ఓకే ఓకే, అది వినలేదు ఎప్పుడు నేను. మేము ఇదివరకు రమేష్ భాయ్ అట్లా ఫాలో అయ్యాను. సో
పంపిస్తారా ప్రభుజీ? మీరు ఏదో రమేష్ భాయ్ అంటున్నారు, అది ఎప్పుడు వినలేదు.
అది చాలా డిఫరెంట్ గా ఉంటుంది మాతాజీ. మనం సాగదీస్తున్నాం కదా ఇక్కడ పాటలు పాడుతున్నాం కదా, వాళ్ళు శ్లోకాలు చదువుతారు ఇది సేమ్ ఇదే ట్యూన్.
నేనైతే నితేసేవిని మాతాజీ దగ్గర విన్నాను.
మన ఇస్కాన్ లో అంతా పాటలు పాడతారు మాతాజీ.
వాళ్ళు శ్లోకాలు పాడతారు,
వాళ్ళు శ్లోకాలు కట్ చేస్తారు ఎట్లా అక్కడ.
ఓకే,
బట్ ట్యూన్ ఇదే మాతాజీ. అందుకని చెప్తున్నాను, యాక్చువల్లీ వి షుడ్ నాట్ బి కాన్సంట్రేటింగ్ ఆన్ ద ట్యూన్ బట్ ఆన్ ద మీనింగ్.
సెకండ్ వన్ సో రైట్.
రెండే ట్యూన్లు ఉంటాయా దీంట్లో? ఫస్ట్
అంతే మొత్తం అన్ని శ్లోకాలు ఈ రెండు ట్యూన్ల మీద వెళ్తాయి.
yes ప్రభుజీ, got it.
ఇది ఒకసారి మనకి ఫస్ట్ 2 weeks ఇది సిట్ అయింది అనుకోండి, నెక్స్ట్ మొత్తం అన్ని శ్లోకాలు మనం 1 week లో చేసేయచ్చు. అంత ఫాస్ట్ గా ఉంటుంది.
యా, ఫస్ట్ వన్ నార్మల్ ఉంది, సెకండ్ వన్ సాంగ్ లాగా ఉంది. యా, got it ప్రభుజీ.
ఓకే. యా, నౌ మాతాజీ అండ్ ప్రభుజీ, నౌ యూ కెన్ టేక్ లీడ్. థాంక్యూ సో మచ్ ప్రభుజీ. సారీ, యాక్చువల్లీ ఇవాళ నేను ఖాళీగా ఉన్నాను, అందుకే కొంచెం ఇట్లా మొత్తం ఎక్స్టెండ్ చేశాను. బట్ ఎల్స్ ఐ విల్ నాట్ గెట్ దిస్ టైమ్. ఆడు పడుకున్నాడు కాబట్టి ఇవాళ కుదిరింది మాతాజీ.
Yes, Prabhu. It's okay. Yeah, thank you very much, Prabhuji and Mataji. Dandavat pranam again. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhayavacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaः. Ananta koti Vaishnava vrinda ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Straight onto Hyder Shakote Village Road.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Nitai Gaurari Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhayavacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaः. Let us connect tomorrow. Okay. Monday. KC Monday. Haribol.